Mr. Dan Parks, front and center.
I have copies of the preliminary plan that we're going to be filing.
What is this?
So this is showing you, let me put my glasses on. The dark area on the map here, the oval, is going to be a sediment pond or a pond on the property that we can pump into. So my biggest problem, as you know, is getting water out so I can dig into dry ground. And so this area here, my engineer figured out like how big it had to be and how deep it has to be so that I can work in the area where I've been working. And when I need to pump, I can pump right into this, this is partially already constructed due to excavating I've done last year and this year. So I just need to dig it out a little bit more and make it that much bigger, probably a third bigger than what it is on here. And then we'll just be able to pump right into that. And this is a map that shows most of my property. The dark line on the outside here is the property line, I guess. And it continues to go this way and around. Right here is where my house is.
Okay, well, this is something Dennis needs to look at and DES needs to look at. Have you talked to DES?
I haven't heard a word from DES yet.
I've got a copy of a letter they sent you.
They sent me a letter?
Yeah.
What's the date on
So
that?
there's a copy of it.
May 5th.
May 5th.
I haven't got it yet. Maybe it's in the mail for tomorrow.
Well, here, I'll give you one.
All right.
We have multiple copies.
Oh, okay.
This basically gives you 20 days to react.
Okay. Let's see.
So, main reason you're here tonight is that you want to ask if you can remove the piles of sand you have with no more excavating, right?
Right. I can't dig or pump because everything's underwater until we get this plan approved through the AOT, I think is where we have to go with that, and the engineer's working on
And
that.
DES. DES is going to have to approve it,
Oh, DES, okay.
which could take.
The AOT. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to sell anything for 2 weeks now, and I'm going broke. I still have
I've seen trucks going out of there full,
my
yeah,
place. Maybe for
and
Chris.
delivering right down the street.
That would be Chris, my son.
Okay. So you're still moving material out of there.
I'm not moving any material out of
Well,
there.
he is off the property.
He has material stockpiled on the property, but he's not taking any sand. There's no sand being taken out. My equipment's been down. I mean, he's got a big pile of loom there.
Okay, so the main question for us tonight is if we will allow you to get rid of what's already been dug on site or stop you completely until something's done with DES and all the engineers.
Well, I mean, I've lost probably $10,000 or $15,000 in the last 2 weeks in sales. Everybody's calling me, all my regular customers. They're pretty good sized companies, you know. They are calling me for material, and I'm like, I can't help you out yet until I get approval to, you know, sell sand again. I mean, I can't. I'm spending a lot of money on an engineer right now to get this done. I've cleaned up all the wetlands completely. And
Well, so DES needs to tell us that.
well,
Because
they'll
when
be
I
out
went
there.
down there was still a tremendous amount of sand in the wetland area.
There's not now.
Okay, well, DES is the ones that, once there's been a violation of the area, DES gets involved and they have to say to us, yes, it's clear, yes, he's taken means not to make it happen again, you know, which is probably what this is, the engineering picture. But they're the ones that have to be satisfied. And as far as selling the stockpile, that's a totally different question that we can decide, but
Yeah,
as far as a cure for what's wrong, that's out of our hands.
right. Well, I acted on it right away. I've got it all cleaned up, and it looks great. The little retention pond that I had built, I have filled it all in, cleaned it all up nice with my loader. So there's nothing there anymore. It's back to what it was just sand, you know, in a sandy area. The wetlands is all done. I mean, Dennis should have been by now to look at it. I don't know if he has or not, but.
Well, he won't go unless either the planning board or we ask him to go, because he's spending your money when he goes.
Yeah, I know.
So he has to have the authority to go. So anybody want to comment on it?
Have you been in contact with DES?
No, I just got this letter.
I mean, I guess the part of this letter that I have a question on is you were requested to voluntarily refrain from carrying out any additional work except for the installation of siltation and erosion controls until New Hampshire DES further investigates this matter.
So I think they're just concerned about that particular spot where the violation occurred, right? Sounds like it. And obviously, I fixed it all, every bit of it. And I can't.
But that's what they have to verify. We can't verify that. Dennis probably could.
I get it. Well, they haven't been out.
Shaking his head, and yes, Dennis could.
I'm sorry?
I said, Rich shook his head when I said Dennis could, you know, verify, but we can't. That's not our field.
Yeah, I get
We
it.
could have Dennis go down there and say, you know, that it's protected and secure and let you remove excess material. But as far as excavating, you're to stop until you satisfy DES.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much more work the engineer has to do on this plan. I mean, it might be ready to submit to them. I don't know. I haven't talked to him this week yet, but it's got to be close. And he says the state is pretty quick, doing a pretty quick turnaround. Maybe, you know, it could be 3 or 4 weeks instead of 2 months, just to do an alteration to the plan.
You mean the engineering people have taken that long?
Yeah, I mean, like my engineer, I don't know if this is ready to submit or not. I asked him to give me something for you guys to see, so that you know exactly what we're gonna be looking for, you know, to do. This is our answer to pumping, you know. And we'll be pumping onto this retention pond on my property. Like I said, it's about 2/3 already dug from last year and this year. So we'll be pumping right onto my property, and then it'll be, bring the water down low enough where I can dig some more, and pile up, you know, the sand above the water level. And, you know, it's typical for me, like, once I get the water all the way down, I only need to pump for like an hour or 2 a day, to get rid of the surface water and keep it down, you know. So that's really all the pump. And I need to pump every day. But that area there, he's kind of calculated out.
Like I said, there's 2 different issues here. One, you have to deal with DES and all that, and then we can deal with the stockpiles.
How long does it typically take DES? If you call DES to come down and take a look, how long before they typically come take a look?
They're unpredictable. They could be a day or they could be a month.
AOTs are backed up quite a bit from everything.
Well, what I'm wondering is if we could do some compromise. I agree with you. That sentence is pretty explicit. So I'm wondering if we allowed him to answer this and get DES at least to come and look at it. And with DES approval, we could possibly lift the cease and desist just to remove the dirt piles that are there, nothing else until AOT approves his plan. I personally can't see lifting the cease and desist with that sentence in there. So I would ask if he could contact DES, and if DES says, okay, we'll work on your plan, but these piles here, yes, you can remove, I would be willing to do it then.
I actually think that if we go against this, DES puts the town in liability.
I agree, that's why I'm saying,
That if there's fine involved, they'll fine the town too.
If you like.
If we said to you, go ahead, and DES comes down and says, why is he digging? And we said, well, we told him he could, they can fine us for that decision, because this basically says,
Well, it says, I mean, I think they're referring to that particular area, not the whole project.
typically when they issue an order, it stops the whole project.
yeah, it says from any additional work, so that's what I would suggest is that's all I think.
Well, I mean, short of DES, can we get Dennis out there to look?
Yeah,
Because I think the problem is, we don't know the area they're referring to.
Right.
We don't know what the AOT encompassed, and so when they're telling you that, that puts us at liability as well. We didn't do anything wrong here.
Right.
So, I agree with Kevin, I guess, if the DES can't go out there, if Dennis can go out there and verify that it is outside of their purview area, and give the green light, then fine, you can take the stuff that's already there, but, as this can run us afoul, and more afoul of the DES than we already are, we need that verification that you can proceed. If they're fine with that, then I'm fine with that.
and Dennis took all the pictures and everything, so he would be the one to look at it.
Right, right.
So, we'll call Dennis tomorrow, tell him to go look at it, but you need to have your engineer call DES immediately
Okay.
and say, when can you get here, what do you need from me?
Right.
Work out all of that, because it's
Or if they
that's
need
more-
Dennis to come out, if they can take Dennis's word as the town engineer,
Right.
they're okay with that, but for us to make that decision is.
Right,
Okay.
and I don't know if Dennis has dealt direct with these people or not, but I'm sure he has, because it's,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he has. Okay.
Yeah, you definitely want to follow up on this DES letter with your engineering company.
Yeah, it's funny that I didn't get this yet, but you guys must have just got it
We just got it today.
today. Yeah. It's like they got perfect time.
today's what, the
9th, so it was mailed Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, the mail is pretty slow these days.
Yeah.
all right?
All right, so we'll have Dennis come out tomorrow and check it
Call
out.
Dennis and,
And he can give me the okay if he likes it. Oh, he's gonna talk to DES.
he's gotta make sure that they're okay with it.
Okay.
We say it's okay, without DES, it puts us in liability. DES does is in writing.
Yeah.
If they do it temporary, they'll send us something immediately. I mean, they're good about getting stuff out, it's just how quick can they look at it? And the better the plan is, the quicker they'll look at it. Okay?
Yeah, because they're talking about the wetlands. I mean, they're primarily interested in the wetlands part of it, and none of my work is near that.
Well, the wetlands were violated, and that's what they have to make sure that you're protecting now.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it's,
Okay,
okay, great.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care, thanks.
I guess we might as well do this in terms of cut next, since Abby's here. Abby, come up, Rich, I mean, we have an intent to cut from William Newman on Webster Road, which is obviously that Wiley Fox Road that did one last year. And I haven't read the sheet that she just gave us, but
Right, Well, Rich called to give me a heads up about this. Conservation is supposed to receive intents to cut so that we can review them in case there's an issue. This one is obvious issue. This property is an According to what Rich told me is that he wants to clear cut the whole forest. Half is in Newton and half is in Kingston, and it's all under the same easement. So what you're looking at is only half of he's got the acreage listed. He's acreage of the lot in Kingston is 46 acres, and he wants to cut 42 acres. A lot of it is in wetland. So I contacted the easement holder immediately, which is the Office of Energy and Planning. And it used to be Steve Walker. Some of you might know Steve Walker. And I believe he's retired now, but anyway, the communications I received were from a Charlotte Harding at the same office. And I've given you a copy of that letter. The gist of which is we like to work with the landowner, and we like to keep a good relationship between the town and the easement holder and the landowner, and so far, and it says that they've contacted a logger, and it said it could be, let's see, whether it seems to be. There's much we do not know, she says, especially the condition of the forest currently. And they're not in an ideal position to know whether the harvest totals between the two properties constitute heavy, medium, or light harvest. According to the forester we consulted, the numbers listed could be within reasonable parameters. But then they go on to suggest that he hire a forester, which he's just dealing with a logger right now. I don't recognize the logger's name. Have you ever heard of this logger's name? Which is, let's see.
K&G.
Yeah, I've never dealt with them, or we've never heard of them. So I also have just past letters. I have the forest management plan, which I think the town has a copy of that also. I have a copy of the conservation easement deed, all of which stress that to assure that the property will be retained forever in its undeveloped, scenic, and open space condition, and to prevent any use of the property that will sufficiently impair or interface with the conservation values of the property. And it goes on. There's a lot to read. There were 2 complaints about earlier harvests, one in 2004 by Mr. Pramberg, one in 2013 by Dave Ingalls. And then I have a letter that I think this is the letter you were referring to, which was actually written by Ron Clemarza. And the second, at least the second harvest, they decided that he was within reasonable limits for the harvest. But it's the second time he's been questioned, and now he's talking about just cutting the whole thing, equal amount of cutting in Newton. Newton has become involved. I sent the Office of Energy and Planning wanted to contact and Conservation in Newton, so I gave them that, and she's now in the loop. But I would love to see this intent held and not granted until he has a forester look at it and see whether what he wants to do is in accordance with the easement. Because we're involved with we're the ones that oversee the easement being followed. Anything you have to say?
Everything, I agree with everything everyone said. I'm not sure how much, I did say clear cut to Evie because that came from the town of Newton. They're the ones that told me he was clear cutting the whole thing.
Well, 42 acres out of 45 is
Yeah.
pretty.
How much is they cut, what percentage of the growth, what's the condition of the existing forest? There's a missing letter that came from L-Chip that I can't put my hands on, that I know I read. They complained about the amount of the third cut, because there's been 3 cuts. Bayou did a cut, and then Mr. Newman has done 2 cuts since then. He tried to do another one, we stopped that. At the very least, I would think the town would want to have, before we allow the cut to happen, you can sign the intent to cut, but personally, I would talk to a lawyer, see if he could issue a cease and desist, and not allow the cut to start until he presents a plan with exactly where and how much timber is being cut off that property. And then we have our forester check their forester's information, and then also check it against the easement that the town is responsible for making sure that is followed, not exceeded.
The forester we always use is Ron Komarzik, and he's the one that's seen this forest before. We monitor the forest every year. It rebounded really well. He's got a lot of lumber over there, but a lot of it is very young. When he did the cuts before, the whole reason for the cut is timber values and white pine. And the white pines are probably now about as tall as that flagpole. So they're not ready to be cut yet. There's also a lot of white cedar on the property, which is an endangered habitat, and he shouldn't be cutting any white cedar. But I don't know, do you need a cease and desist if you have not, you haven't signed off on this intent yet, have you?
No.
Okay, I don't know if can he cut?
But I
if
think
you
we
haven't signed the
have to
intent?
sign it and then issue a cease and desist. I'll check the RSA tomorrow, but
I mean, we'd have to check with DRA, but the way it was explained to us is that's just an instrument of taxation. That's all it is. We're not giving approval or anything like this. Came up with Toromeo where they did their cutting.
All right.
We're only responsible for making sure that the DRA gets
He
their
pays
money
the
out.
tax, so he could be cutting already.
Well, no. What my question is, Evie, is, with my easement, Southeast Land Trust is administering it, and the NRCS is the easement holder, technically.
Yeah.
So what I'm assuming here is this CLSP person is the NRCS in this, and the town or the
Right.
Conservation Commission. Is it written anywhere what our responsibilities are in that or our authority?
So I can tell you in the original agreement, the town signed an agreement that they're responsible for X, Y, and Z. I don't see in that agreement, I don't remember what it says, but
I think we want to get our hands on that.
Responsible for upholding the easement. So let's see, Betty Willett signed the last page, so this is the easement deed from 1988.
folder.
Yeah, the town, let's see, the town signs off on it saying that we agree that we will hold this in a permanent conservation easement. That in this case is through the state. So the town's responsibility is to make sure the easement, we monitor every year to make sure the easement is being properly followed.
I guess my question would be what the language is in the easement itself regarding forestry practices.
It
and then
says that he can do forestry, the forestry is allowed.
Okay.
Or agriculture and forestry, those are always the all-encompassing things in conservation easement deeds.
So we have a-
But it specifies how the forestry is to be done in the easement, so.
We have a plan here from Megan Henderson, licensed professional forestry, that shows what they're doing.
Oh, for this cut?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a whole layout, pictures.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but CLS would love to see that.
I'll get a copy to you tomorrow.
Okay.
You
So
brought
we
it in
have-
response to the last,
They did contact the forester?
This is their forestry.
they had to update their management plan after they were denied the last time, so he brought that in before he brought the intent.
Did they update the management plan? Do we have a new one?
What?
I don't know what that
I
is.
have an
exactly.
old management plan.
This is dated December 2021.
That's the forester's report, but did they update the management plan? You might be talking about two different things, I'm not sure.
I can get a copy of that.
Well, this gives the exact numbers that are on the intent to cut.
Yeah, because there's a forester's statement when they're gonna do the cut. I have one old one here. But that's not, and that, where he's estimating how much lumber is gonna come out, et cetera. I don't know if that's what you're looking at, or if you're looking at an actual updated management plan.
It just says, gives the location of where they're cutting. Says total acres 46.
Yeah, that's not a
42.
management plan. So that's another issue. They were supposed to update the management plan, which they didn't do. Because you can see this is 1992. So that was supposed to be updated before he could do another cut.
So we can issue a
Usually
cease and desist based on the fact that they don't have an updated forestry management plan. If that was a requirement that was put upon them on the last time they did a cut, and they haven't fulfilled that, then we would have grounds to.
Right, that's my understanding. I don't know who said that they needed an updated management plan. I hadn't heard that. So I have to dig down and see if I can figure out who asked them for that.
That was Elchip.
That was Elchip?
I believe so.
I will check with them, but I'd love to have the foresters.
She said she'd send you a copy. So it sounds like we sign it and then we issue a cease and desist.
I mean, we can sign it, I wouldn't return it to them yet until we verify that we have standing in that. If LCHIP required them to update their forestry management plan, we would have grounds to issue a cease and desist as the easement administrator. But
I don't know if you've had a chance to read their letter, but that just came in today. So you might want to take a minute and read.
I mean, as far as that goes, we can't compel someone to spend money unless, it's a battle I'm having, is, unless they're paying for it. You can't make someone pay for a forester. They can use like the county forester, or as she's recommending in here, the district forest ranger. You can use someone like that to come out and assess it, but you can't make someone.
Even if he purchased a property that's in an easement?
And it says that any cut would be managed by a forester?
I mean, they can. Well,
So,
again, not knowing what their easement says.
so the town bought all development rights, and Mr. Mayhew received a large chunk of change, $1992, to have this plan developed and develop the management plan, and it took all the development rights away. Now you've got another person that comes in after Mr. Mayhew dies and buys it at relatively, 100 acres for a couple $100,000. Beautiful land. But it has the restrictions on it.
But it does allow forestry.
As long as it's done by a forester, as long as the plan is developed by a forester and approved by LCHIP.
What I'm saying is, easements of that genre
Yep.
were fairly vague. They hadn't learned,
Okay.
the Stevens farm, you know, isn't in an easement anymore. That's how vague they were able to get out of it. So it's like, without seeing that piece of paper in front of us, if it's requiring that they have a forestry management plan, we can do a cease and desist, but we can't make him pay for that, I don't think, unless it explicitly says that, but there are other resources he can use, like the county forester and things like that.
Unfortunately, the county forester just had knee surgery and is out of commission for the time being, so he's probably not gonna be able to go look at it for a couple of months.
Who's the forester? Is that Madsen?
Yeah, Mike Batson.
Yeah. I mean, even having him come out and look at it, you know, I don't think it would be any
I'll talk to the LCHIP people again about it, and I'll read this conservation deed again to find those fine stipulations and try to figure that out for you. And they will know also.
I mean, we can certainly call him. It's not like the ground's frozen and he's under the deadline to get this done. It's only gonna be more favorable for him to do it soon, but it's,
Not to mention it's summertime and you're not supposed to be logging across wetlands and so forth.
Okay, sounds like we'll do a little more research and
All right, yep.
so do we have a copy of that though, or does someone have a copy of that easement?
Of what?
should be in the
Yeah,
file, property
downstairs
file.
in the book. We have a copy downstairs.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Oh, and while I'm here, there's one other thing. The Acorn Forest, there was the one issue with the truck having leaked some hydraulic fluid.
That's already, she's supposed to be calling me to set something up.
I heard from her today. She called me. She would like someone to check water that is orange coming from Acorn Forest after trucks leaked hydraulic fluid. I'm
Water?
guessing it's just iron contained in the water from runoff. But,
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about our
this is
water test.
something new, but I don't know if we were going to, we had discussed maybe testing our water once the permafrost was gone. I don't know if we're still willing to do that.
What I told her when she wanted a water test that you told her we would do, which was, that we would do it like end of May, 1st of June, because that would be enough time to show results.
In the meantime, she wants somebody to look at the water that's running down over there.
So where is that? I have no clue where that is. That's the problem.
She'd be happy to show you.
Yep.
I just got this when I got home from work tonight, so.
You can send that to me with a name and phone number. I'll be glad to go check it out.
How
Okay.
much hydro did they draw? How much did they draw?
How much hydraulic fluid?
Less than a gallon.
They also have numerous ATVs and trucks and things on the property that could be leaking fluids, so.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with the logger, which has everything to do with the neighbors that are making the complaints.
Right.
So,
But anyway, this is something new.
You're using chainsaws, you're using heavy equipment, you can't cut a forest down with herringbone.
Right.
You have to use equipment and a hydraulic line blowing, first of all, mineral oil. Okay? It really is mineral oil. Evie, we talked about this before. I appreciate the hard work you do, but you can't be telling people that we're gonna test your water for something that's over 200 feet away.
Well, I was talking to Rich and talking to Ron too. This was a test me.
Yeah, but you told the person you would test the water. I'm sorry, Evie, but it's a hydraulic line. Again, you can't go out there with a bow saw and cut down in forest, okay? It's too bad it happened. I'm sure they were trying to do their best, but accidents happen, and it's mineral oil.
And was I supposed to tell her accidents happen when she called and
You
complained
just
that
say
she
we're
saw
gonna look into it, and you have
gallons?
them go look at it. You don't promise people we're gonna test their well.
Okay. Check out the other thing, and we'll
Yep, definitely. Yep.
go from there.
Yep. Send me that information, if you please, with the contact information. I'll call her. Maybe not tomorrow, but in the next couple of days, I'll go out there and take a look at it. You can call if I'm out there, or wait schedule. If you want to come along.
All right,
Good deal, thanks.
all right.
Rich, you want to stay there and do these, Bridge?
Yeah, sure.
These are for, water line. These are for the water line from, new fire station to town hall for, fire suppressant. This is something else. Whoa. How was this put out? I mean, this one has two alternates. Oh, one's PVC, one's iron.
Yep. So I'm gonna suggest you just take one advisement. I'll do the same things I do with the paving bids. I'll call, make sure everyone's numbers are exactly what they need to be. And,
So you just want to read the numbers and then you're going to advise them?
yep, because I haven't seen those yet, so I don't know.
I have F&S Construction, it's alternate one, which is PVC, is 70,000, and the iron piping one is 110,000.
I got Mark Vines, and it's different. It's option 1 and option 2. Option 1 makes me have a question. It says along the street, 137,000, and along the plains, 120,000. So
Depends on which side of the street we went on.
could I ask why we would do it? Because there's a lot of driveways there. There's at least 4 or 5.
Because when I spoke to him, I thought the shut off was actually on that side of the road. So option 1 is not viable.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I think it would affect a lot of people, but yeah, okay, so that's that one.
I have Eastern Seaboard Concrete Construction. For ductile iron, it's 104.5, and it's PVC, it is 5,400 less, so it's 99,000. Yeah. Math.
I have the BPB, and the PVC is 105,500, and the iron is 75,500. I'm assuming it was all based on 1,000 feet?
Well, I've got to check that. That's
Well, that's what it
make
is.
sure the constants are the same.
Okay, so take a motion to send these to the highway agent for review.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Last week you opened the paving bids. You had 3 bids, Bill and Flynn, Brooks, and Pike. In front of you, when I make the adjustments, you'll see Bell and Flynn, their final number is 437,509. Brooks is 487,517. And Pike is 483,187.50. The reason for the changes in the numbers, Bell and Flynn doesn't have a scale, so they can't give me a price per ton unless so they gave me a price per cubic yard, and I used the conversion factor that was agreeable to him and myself, 75.25. that changed that number to $40 a ton. And Brock's and Pike used a little bit different number for the total quantity of shoulder gravel. So I used 800 tons as the constant versus Pike used 675. So that number changed a little bit. Basically, in a nutshell, Bell and Flynn is the low bidder by $47,000. I would recommend you award the bid to Bell and Flynn for $437,509. I will caution you, these tonnages are estimates and they're going to change, so that is not really a hard number. You're basically agreeing to the price per ton. I might decide I need to spend some extra money on it, you know, because of the condition of the road. It's hard to tell what you're going to use. For a road, for 2 mile of road, we're going to average 3/8 of an inch of shim, or we average 5/16, so we're going to average 3/4 of an inch. You know, it's impossible to tell that number. It's 37 years of my best, you know, my opinion, what will work, and the numbers generally are pretty close, but I just warn you, it's not, you're not awarding it for that exact number. We're doing a price per ton bid, basically. But Bell and Flynn is a little bit.
Are you familiar with Bell and Flynn?
We used
Yeah,
it
they-
last year, didn't we?
No, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
I know Pike reviews from there, and that's why I did.
Pike was last year, Bell and Flynn was a couple years ago. It's been a few years since Brock's has been in here, but they've all paid for me different years.
Make a motion to approve awarding the highway paving contract to Bell and Flynn.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 He said aye. Okay.
I do have one thing while Rich is here. Driveway permits. We've had some issues with that. I'm hoping to get all the relevant players in one room so we can discuss this and kind of come up with a solution for this. Obviously, Rich would be there, Chad, and either Glenn Greenwood or the planning board chair, however we want to do it. I know Rich has made an attempt to explain this to the planning board in the past, and it just kind of, they didn't really see any need to change it. But they're the administrating authority and we're the enforcement authority, and Rich has got in the middle here, so.
I mean, I'll tell you one prime reason is that we've called 6 or 8 people in the last couple of weeks, and technically we should be taking that to the planning board, having them issue something instead of us stopping them like we do.
Exactly.
And if it was sent to us, then that would eliminate that step. So,
The system's broken. I've been saying it for years, guys. Folks. And the selectmen handle all the other enforcement, all the other inspectors. It's driveways is the only, you know, the ugly stepchild. And it really should, it can be and it should be brought under your purview. And if you want to change the rules and regulations, it makes it easier. Because right now you have no control over driveways or driveway regulations, rules, enforcement, yes, but you've got to get asked by the planning board to enforce things.
so can we set that up for the next inspectors meeting, like right after it?
Yeah.
We set it up for 9 o'clock. Glenn's been coming in at like 10, so we could have him be here early if he wants to be there, but Helen will be there anyway.
Yeah, we can put it out to anyone on the planning board who wants to attend.
Okay. Sounds reasonable.
Actually, I believe I'll be here. Just got, the other shoe dropped on the cancer forefront. I've got to have a bunch of radiation, cancer spread to my bones. So starting actually this Thursday, I'll be making a trip to Boston, and then next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
What if we do it this Thursday afternoon?
This Thursday afternoon, I will be in Boston. I have to be there. I've got to look at my schedule, Rich, I'm sorry.
If nothing else, Rich and we can sit down and I can take down all the concerns. And
You can vocalize.
yeah, if you can't be there, I can at least argue your side.
Yep, appreciate it. Yep, but I'll give you guys a list. It's just, I just found out this afternoon, this is what's gonna happen to try and knock the cancer back, so. Yep.
Yeah, can I ask you all set for rides?
Say it again?
You all set for rides tomorrow?
So all appointments will be late afternoons, and I'm probably gonna drive myself down and get the radiation, drive myself home. So it should be set.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Bakey? Ms. Bakey, would you like to speak? I know you would, so.
Yes. Hello. Hey, Ellie. Couple quick things. I've had a request from Stacy Dion about putting something in the tax bill, and I know there's talk about putting something in with the tax bill from the assessing department. I have no problem with that. It's legal to do as long as it's not political or anything, but the select board needs to vote on it. And I would like some kind of procedure in place so that, say, Rich came to me and said, put this in there, or Evie came and said, put this in there, and I don't want 12 things in there, so I think we need to have a process that someone that wants to do that has to come before the board to have them okay it.
What I had said is that she probably needs to approve it first. Basically that there's room and there's time and everything to get it in there. And when you would need it by and all that kind of stuff, and then bring it to this board to approve it.
Can I ask what the,
So
is that
that's
the budget committee?
no, it's for the solid waste and recycling committee. We figured we have a captive audience looking to lower their tax rate and embrace alternatives to disposing of their solid waste when they put their bill. But, how much room do we have? So Tammy looked this up because I was curious about this.
Yeah.
And,
Yep, there is
you
an
know, it is
hour.
legal to do it,
Yep.
like you said. I just figured it was an opportunity to disperse information to the residents that, you know, we weren't utilizing.
Well, I think there's gotta come up with a procedure if it's okay.
Right, we had already talked to her about putting something about permits in there, which I would give way to you, and then I'll put mine in the paper or on the cable news. But we have so many people that are coming in and not doing permits, obviously, that we're catching, and to do a general.
Is there a way you could do it on, like, one-on-one?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say is, you know, maybe it's we pick two topics and
Right.
each one gets aside and it's one piece of paper that gets
That's,
filled in.
I mean, we'll definitely be one page,
Yeah.
so we could do double-sided and do.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the intent of the solid waste recycling committee was just to start generating information for people, so.
So, like I said, we can do that, it just, you guys have to vote on it per the RSA, and like, I just want some kind of, so that I can say if some, next person comes and asks me, hey, can we put something in there about whatever, you have to go see the select board.
I make a motion that moving forward, should we choose to include correspondence with the tax bill, it be limited to two subjects, one sheet of paper, one side of a piece of paper each,
I'll second that.
To be approved by the select board.
as determined by the select board.
Discussion would be that the planning board would pick priorities, that more than one group wants to, or more than two groups, or, you know, what if we have 4 people come to us and say they want to add something?
Yeah, why you put the planning board as priority?
No, I meant selectmen, I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, selectmen. I was thinking planning board. It's selectmen will have priority in picking
Yes,
who gets priority.
yes.
Anything from you? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? She says yes,
How come we don't hear it anymore?
because she's not saying anything.
So the second subject is tomorrow is deed date, and we have one more person that hasn't paid.
Oh, yeah.
They owe $6,000 by tomorrow, $6,003 and some change. I spoke with,
Wait, Leave names out of it?
Yep.
Leave addresses out of it?
Yep.
Okay.
I spoke with this person's representative because this person is just not fluent in English. And this is the person I deal with for the last 5 years. I've dealt with this one person. He told me that he's not sure that they can come up with the money. So if they don't come up with the money by tomorrow, the select board would have to sign a deed waiver to basically say they're not gonna accept the deed. The other kind of kink in it is there is a renter living at this property. And it is advised by the attorney for the Tax Collectors Association that you as the governing body should consult with the town council about accepting a deed, because now you're the landlord and you have to accept that liability as far as insurance and to get that person out. So it's kind of complicated. So let's keep our fingers crossed if they come up with the money, but if they don't, I'm gonna put it back in your lap.
And I just went through the eviction thing with another property, and it's pretty simple, but it's about a 30-day process. So we would own with a renter for about 30 days. And we've said before, we don't want to be landlords.
Yeah, but on the flip side, then we take liability for the house longer than 30 years.
Yep.
It's in perpetual until we decide that, and that's where we were in trouble before.
So there's two reasons why you can fill out this deed waiver. One is for like environmental concerns, and the other is for a case just like this, like it would cause liability to the town to have this property be owned by the town. Now you have to insure it, you have to get the tenant out, you have to keep an eye on it, whatever,
So what happens if we refuse the deed? They just
Then
keep
you
it
would-
without taxes?
then you would get that owner in and work out a payment plan, because I will tell you this, the owner has not given me 1 cent this whole last year. So the last year when they were up for deeding, they paid exactly what they needed to and then never paid me again. So, paid the town again. So the select board would enter into a payment agreement with this person to at least get some funds coming in to work off that $6,000.
But this is, I guess we'll cross the bridge when it comes to it, but this has happened every
Year.
And if the person's taking in rent,
Right.
And I get it, the rent party's paying for their own bills, but still, we can't just.
Right, I agree.
I make a motion to authorize the chair to discuss with town council the ramifications of both courses of action.
Second.
Discussion. My comment would be, let's do a joint call,
Okay,
or go same, one or the other.
sounds good.
All in favor, say
Phil, this is all because Phil jinxed me.
aye. Opposed, motion carries. While Tammy's still here, we talked last week about approving a folding machine. I have a purchase order here for $3,680.
I signed it.
Hmm?
I signed it.
Oh,
Should
there's
you?
another purchase order in there. Right, this is the actual contract.
Yeah, it's in here, I signed it.
Yeah, she did a PO.
So I just need authorization to sign this.
Make a motion you need authorization for it?
Well, it says
He has to
it.
sign that.
Okay,
Yeah.
authorization at the chair
What
sign.
is the contract? Is a
That-
long-term commitment we're in here?
No.
That's
just
to purchase it.
purchase.
After that, the first year, there's no maintenance fee. After that, there's a $700 maintenance fee that I'll put into my budget.
$700 maintenance on a 2,000, on a $3,000 machine? Well, we can talk about the maintenance later, but.
Well,
Yeah, because maintenance
we probably
isn't
talk about
included in the
that.
price.
Right, because it's not included in the first year. You don't have to pay any kind of maintenance.
Yeah, it's the folder insert, the tri-food kit, which is $36,800, and then the $732.
Well, is that the only option?
To lease it, you could lease it.
What?
You could lease it.
No, I'm saying that's the only company that sells the auxiliary folder. It just seems to pay $3,000 and change for a machine that's gonna cost $700 in maintenance.
So I think that $700 also includes, like, you could have like 15 different programs. So say, I wanted to use it to fold the little statements now that you're gonna put in the tax bill. That's threefold, right? It's a piece of paper like this that's threefold. Our tax bills are only
Twofold.
this
One-
big, so it has to have another program to do that. So I assume that if you wanted to do something else with a different kind of fold, you could program it.
What's the lease?
I have it downstairs, I don't have it.
I mean, we're gonna be rebuying this thing every 7 years, or 5 years.
Well, I didn't realize, I signed that, but I didn't realize it was $700 maintenance.
Is there an option?
I can ask tomorrow if we have to pay the $700. I mean, what would happen if we didn't?
Oh yeah, would they come out as a service call,
Right,
like they do the copy machine after the warranty?
I can inquire.
So we're signing the purchase order, so we're not signing the maintenance agreement.
Correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
everybody's okay with that? Vote. All those in favor say aye.
Right?
Well, I think it's already,
Well, but I gotta sign.
I'll
it.
sign that.
So that's just the purchase.
Yeah,
Aye.
it lists the equipment maintenance, but it's not included in the price.
That's correct.
Noes, motion
No.
carries.
Yeah, I'm just curious what it is to lease it.
And I'll ask them what the $700 does for us, and,
Yeah.
and if what would happen if we didn't pay it.
Like, I get that on the copier. It's like Jedi art fixing that thing, but, I mean, it's the paper folder.
Okay, anything else?
That's it?
This is the purchase agreement or contract for police station lights.
Yeah, and I think that shows the total cost, but there should be a rebate involved. I think it's 50%.
I don't see any mention of the rebate. Oh, wait, no.
You wanna wait and find out after? We'll just hold this for next week?
I mean, we ought to have the rebate information in there.
Yeah.
While he's looking at that, I got a request from Robert Pellegrino for his bond reduction. And this is signed by Lynn Merrill and Dennis Quintel. And it's dropping the bond from $323,819 to $229,417, dropping it $197, or $197,035.77.
Are all the property bounds in?
All the property bounds are in, the binder codes. Thing, you know, Dennis went through it and sorted out everything. You know, it says on there 100%, like 100% for survey crews done, stumps are done, stockpiles done, crushed stones done, excavating's done, drainage piping's done, manholes are done. Monuments, 100%. And he needs this letter for his bank, so And then we're gonna turn around and hit him for an escrow payment because of the escrow account is down. Needs to be brought back up. So I need a motion to sign this.
Take a motion to approve the chairman to sign a bond reduction for or whatever the development is.
Solar Hills.
Solar Hills. Sorry.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor, say
Aye.
aye.
Kelly,
So there'll still be 126,000 remaining on the bond.
Did you hear Phil? She's frozen. There you go.
He's not.
Anything.
Well,
I don't think we can legally do that.
okay,
In question today.
okay.
All in favor,
I
say
had a question.
aye. Okay.
Where are we at on the basement permits that weren't issued and basements are being poured and?
The foundation permit was issued because that stipulation was that he did the monumentation. And that has been done. No inspections because it was backfilled, and that's truly noted. And I don't think he's applied for anything else since then. But he'll obviously apply for the house permit, but he should be all clear. He did.
I don't know if that's obvious.
No, I mean, that's his next step, whether he does or not. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Phil? Motion carries. Okay, so this and that. This isn't non-public, is it? Has everybody seen that?
No.
This is Comcast payment, which was $29,906 to the town.
Yeah, they pay $65 a year. So what's your question?
Nothing, I just was making everybody aware of it.
Yes, it's, I believe 60, maybe 60,000. That makes sense. It's a half a bit or something. I think it's 60,000 they have to pay in order to be provider or whatever.
Franchisee.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
go. Which you won't get anything from Consolidated. No, they're doing the same thing.
Must be nice to have a judge in your pocket.
Yeah.
We're coming in, no public, so I don't need to public comment. I have a question on enforcement. As most of you know, we've started a board downstairs with letters that we send out. Questions, what do we want to do with the ones that don't react to the letters that we send out or don't do anything about them?
Well, I guess what can we do? What are our options?
Well, I mean, the first step we could do is have an attorney send a letter.
Yeah.
And I would probably recommend Melissa for that instead of Summer, because it's a simple thing of a letter to say that this is the town's position and whatever. Then we gotta get into going to court and how do we handle it? You know, will the attorney's letter be enough to?
I read a couple of the letters that the code enforcement officer had sent out, and they were kind of open-ended on the timeline. It was, as it should be, an educational tool to notify people that they were in violation and to please contact him. I think before we go the attorney route, there should be a second one stipulating you have 15 days to contact
react.
us. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think the legal letter should be the third option, which would initiate enforcement proceedings.
Okay. All right.
I think the hard thing with that though is just obviously the violation range.
And I've got 2 properties that we contacted several times that are seasonal, that they lived in all year. And I'm gonna contact them again and say, you've got to the end of summer to get out, or we're gonna take legal action. Because both of them have to do septic and impact phase. Actually, there's 3. One is going after the realtor that sold him the property because they didn't disclose any of that after the realtor had been told several times that it was seasonal. The other one just says she doesn't have the money to do it, but Dennis is saying it wouldn't take much to make her septic that was just put in year round, but she won't even return a call, so I'm gonna knock on the door and talk to her. And then another one's down off New Boston Road. So,
Richard,
Okay.
you know, you
typically when it comes to that, it's like the police department and me.
okay, okay,
So there's a witness and there's a little more authority that, you know.
okay.
With regards
I
to
got
the
it.
seasonal residences though, don't we want to wait until whatever it is, October 16th?
Well, that's what I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna say, you know, we let you buy last year, but you have till the 16th of October to get these taken care of, or we're gonna take eviction steps at that point. So it gives them 3 months or 4 months to get it done. We've got on here to talk to the, we've got a note from Ellie about from Ellen, bi-weekly pay.
Yeah, I also received, and I see it's on here, pretty much unanimously in the highway department, they are opposed to it. And I think as we're sitting here trying to figure out benefits to extend to people and ways to retain people, I think if there's that much opposition to it, some of it vehement, it would not be in our best interest to switch to bi-weekly if that is the case.
At least until the first of the year.
Well, I think we should still do it with the first of the year. That's what I said.
Well, I think we wait and make a decision once we see what benefits we're gonna give.
What is the intent of going to bi-weekly paychecks?
It cuts down.
Time and money.
Time and money.
How much money is that gonna save us?
It's pretty significant moving forward. It really is. I can't tell you how much the town is gonna save, but I've seen it at the town of Exeter, and I've seen it at the county. And of course, people are resistant to it, but once you get on the cycle, it's not that much difference. Instead of every week getting a check, you get a double the check the next week. That's what it is, but it is a lot of time. It truly is.
I will check into that and get an estimate. We'll just kind of table this until
I mean,
future meeting.
to hear Cindy tell it, I didn't hear that there was gonna be a huge cost savings to the town. What I heard it was gonna be a time savings to the town for her. And I think if that's the case, maybe we need to look at hiring a payroll company to handle that directly. If we're trying to take things off of her plate, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But again, we have very limited tools in our toolbox to retain employees and extend benefits to them. And if it's not saving us multiple thousands of dollars a year, the cost of replacing an employee is gonna far outshadow any savings from switching to that. So.
All right, well, let's.
Richard,
Ellie?
just say, okay?
And I think, obviously, there's been discussions in town with it, and everybody knows that it's a possibility out there. And, so down the road, whether it's in January or whatever, at least they've got to have some time to think about it and realize that it may happen at some point, not, like you say, Phil, not right now, but the word's out that there's going to be a change at some point.
Liaison reports?
I don't have anything, but I do have a question for maybe you. I got a meeting, I believe, tomorrow, for, historical. Where do they meet? It's at 7 o'clock.
Right here.
It is here?
Yeah.
And then I got Kingston days on Thursday. Other than that, I don't have anything.
I heard from Pete LaChapelle. He has our extension ready to review.
Oh, yeah, waste
Want to
management.
meet on that? Do you want to go meet with him, with me?
Depends on when it is, but probably.
I'll forward you the email, but I would prefer someone else be there as well.
No, that's fine.
And then not technically a committee thing, but the, well, yeah, I already briefed that last week, but, the purchase of the property that was approved by the voters, I've been tracking down all known accomplices of this gentleman still. So I left a message with Sumner today because it's one of his clients, so hopefully we can push the ball.
Just give me a slip.
I gave people, yeah, I'm trying to give him money.
You were going, so you don't have anything.
No, well, we did meet with the firehouse the other night, and, again, nothing.
Have they got a move date yet?
Well, yes and no. It's going to be the end of May.
Okay.
But they're hesitant now because Graham wants the building ready to be moved into when they move, rather than half-assedly try to move stuff around. So he said, even if it's another week before we do it,
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we've got the shelves and the stuff and whatever's going to be to do that. So, and, whenever, they're going to give it a couple of weeks to let the police and fire use it for training, but I would say between June 1st and the 15th is the tear down day.
Okay.
There's going to be a meeting this Wednesday.
I just saw that. I don't know if I can make it, but
I will be attending.
okay.
I missed last week's. I got the two canceled ones confused. But
The other thing is, it was brought up at the planning board meeting that we're supposed to vote annually on alternates to the boards, where, like Chuck can't be at the planning board, I would suggest authorizing me or Kevin to substitute. And I know we did that 3 or 4 years ago, but they said it's supposed to be done annually, and they read it right off the RSAs, that we just have to say, yes, these two people have the right to sit into any group that
I thought the chairman was automatically allowed to do that, could fill in for.
They didn't seem to think so when they read from the RSA, that just said it had to be approved by the rest of the board. And I figured it's a simple thing to do, so.
Better add that to our legislative calendar there, Susan.
So a motion to allow the chair or the vice chair to sit in on committee meetings for the person who would be absent
As an alternate.
as an alternate.
I make a motion that both the chair and the vice chair be standard alternates for any appointed committee where the select board is a standing member.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Don't forget,
Liaison reports.
Oh, go ahead. I did forget you.
And we. So that. You know what?
We're getting several requests for town properties to purchase. So we're starting a list, so we probably need to review those sometime in the next month.
We should sit down
And sit down and see if there's anything else we want to.
Right, Rich would be the primary one to ask if anything the town will, but yeah.
The other thing is June 20th, we have a meeting set up, and that would be our new Juneteenth holiday. And that's a meeting night, so if we eliminate it, we would be going 3 weeks without a meeting, so. The question is, how do you want to arrange getting around that?
What's the week before? Why don't we do the week before?
We could.
So you're on your every other week schedule at that point, so we could just put it in the other week instead, like you said, or.
We could either go, the 27th would be our daytime meeting. So it'd be to go the 13th. So we meet the 6th, the 13th, and the 27th.
Yeah.
Everybody all right with that?
Yep.
If required,
If required.
Yeah.
why don't we just have it as a necessary meeting?
Okay, we've done that. Got the peddlers.
What do you think?
Everybody read that? It's a hawk and peddler request.
Oh, yeah, I don't understand this.
I didn't either, so.
So what is his business?
His
Guess
wife's
they-
selling clothing.
They sell clothing
Yeah,
in their
it says
house
it's
on
on
Marshall Road. So we would be basically opening up a permanent yard sale.
Apparently he went to Glenn Greenwood, who told him should be a state permit. But then after they have their state permit, they need to come back and register with the police department, and the fee is normally $100 to the town. So,
And why wouldn't we, it's $100 fee, and then he already wants to, they want to operate, instead of Monday through Friday, they want to add Saturdays to it, so it's a $100 fee.
Want to tell them to come in?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Do it that way.
invite them to come in.
Well, what?
I don't think there's a reason.
Well,
But they ask, but they're also asking for Saturday operation too. That,
well,
I mean, I'd just like to get a little more detail about what they're doing.
okay.
So if it goes to the state and gets a permit from the state, does that supersede the town can't control it? I mean, we've usually controlled them in the past.
I didn't know it even went to the state.
Yeah, I just,
I thought that was a local thing and that we changed it from the town clerk to the police department a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So let's go into the state before we bring them in. We should what?
We should,
Which we
we should
have.
look at, yeah,
Does this count as needing a 90-day permit for the camper?
They're not living in it. Approval from minutes.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes, both public and non-public, from May 2nd, 2022.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Everybody saw their library statement. The library is having a 10-year anniversary party Saturday, May 21st. They have activities starting May 14th for the week, so contact the library for further details. That brings us to an end. Does anybody have any non-public?
Did you want to make a decision on the contra dance request?
Oh, thank you. Did we make a decision? I brought the contra dance thing in that.
But we're gonna see if they could use the
He
rec.
doesn't want to use the rec, so do we want to allow him here? They don't want to dance on the concrete. So it's whether we want them here or not.
Well, it's just, there's the fee, right, of the, that
Yeah,
was the whole
which they
thing.
paid before, they paid the fee, and he broke everything down and set it back up.
I don't have a problem if he's gonna pay the fee and bring it down.
Everybody okay? That-
I remember that coming up. I don't know that I've ever noticed it.
And I don't know if any of the staff is,
Will I need to break down the microphones before they do that?
I think all they did before was pick everything up and set it on the stage. But I'll get that answer for you.
Okay.
The only other thing I wrote down is the highway job description last week. You said that you had no further changes, so is that considered approved? Do you want to have a vote on that, so it's a done deal?
You go in and post it.
The
Or
the highway
post
job
in
description.
the highway garage. Ally, you have anything else?
I was just looking at this proposed hiring of a school resource officer. Does that,
Yeah,
doesn't involve us to speak of, does it? Other than- They're paying, obviously, they're paying.
They're paying it, but we pay it and they pay us back, so that's why we're in it.
Ellie was questioning the bang for her buck that she was getting from the school district, but. Right, Ellie? Anything on that yet?
It's quite a deal.
Moved back to town, so.
With, the seminary property, is that all finalized and done?
The 79E, I believe we signed up.
Signed everything. The seminary called me, the group called last week for test pits that they're gonna have done. I've referred them to Rockingham for that. They're doing a full-fledged plan and gonna have everything ready to present.
Okay, so so it goes to the planning board now is the next step?
HDC.
Yeah, I think HDC is their first hurdle, and then I believe they have to go to zoning, and then they have to go to planning.
So we're not gonna still see any info, we're not gonna see like excavation or anything?
I'd say next year maybe, if they're lucky. With the board's permission, I was going to do an article just explaining how the 79E process went and what the final result was and the benefits to the town.
Sounds
Great
good.
idea.
Yep.
One thing from the planning board that made me think about is the warehouse group requested to come in and start excavating and doing some of their work. And the planning board denied it because they're still short a couple of state permits.
For which one?
They're missing the driveway entry onto 125 for the warehouse.
Oh,
And they're missing that, and they're missing something about the approval. Both of them are highway. And they said when they called the state to check on it, they act like it was the first they'd heard of it. So, you know, we have state highway report comments from the planning board, so.
Can we talk, I don't know, I would think the ballot should be uniform, and I don't know where we go with it, but like, when the budget committee votes, there's a tally, 6-5 in favor, and the board of selectmen, it's, 4-1 in favor. The planning board just says, planning board approved, with which I think I don't know, whose purview is it, but I mean, it should be standardized. Because if it's a 5-6 decision, that weighs heavy versus it's a unanimous decision.
I think previously the school had done that and we didn't. And now we've gotten 2 of the bodies involved in that on the same page, but as an independently elected board, I would think they have their own purview
Why
on
don't you
that.
just ask them about that, we'll put the tally on.
Because it makes a big difference, I'll be honest, when you're voting, you know, if it's a 5-4 on the select board.
You're talking about ballot questions.
Right, correct. When it's
So ask them to
select
do
board.
it. Just
Ellie, what?
the-
Didn't we do a warrant article having the people authorize us to do that?
Yes.
Article requested the town to show that, then the planning board would fall under that, and so it would be.
See how it was worded.
Yeah, because it just sticks in, you don't see that, and it's a big decision. I mean, it means a lot, that's why
I
we
mean,
put it there.
yeah, I mean, if I was voting and I saw 5 to 6 or something close, it might make you say, hey, I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
It's amazing that most people say that they just look at it and vote based on what everybody's recommending.
Correct.
My favorite was the person who came up to me and said, can't you just decide this for us?
Really.
Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Hey,
Second.
Say aye.
Aye.
and tell